You imagined it so clearly. Your own space. Your own rules. Mornings with coffee and no one else's noise. A life that finally looked the way you always wanted it. Freedom, peace. Fresh start that belonged only to you. And then you moved in. And the door closed. And it was so quiet. That silence, you weren't ready for it. Not because it was empty, but because it had weight. A specific kind of heaviness that nobody warned you about. You expected peace. And what arrived instead felt like something closer to loneliness. And you stood there confused, because this was everything you wanted. So why does it feel like this? Here's what psychology tells us about that moment. Humans are not wired to need connection as much as they are wired to need presence. Not someone loving you, not someone talking to you, just someone existing nearby. The sound of another person in the kitchen, the feeling of not being the only living thing in a space. For most of your life, that presence was just there. You never had to think about it. It was like oxygen, invisible until it's gone. The chaos you lived in before wasn't just noise. It was regulation. It kept you anchored to the present moment. Someone needed something. Something happened. Life pulled you outward. You were never alone with yourself long enough to notice the silence inside you. Now there is nothing pulling you outward. And it turns out, you are very loud to yourself. The overthinking begins here. But because solitude creates a specific condition that most people have never experienced before, you are now the only narrator of your own life. There is no external story running alongside yours. There is just you, your thoughts, and four walls that don't talk back. And the mind, when left without distraction, does what it was built to do. It searches for meaning. It replays. It asks questions that don't have answers yet. It wonders if the quiet means something is missing, or if you are missing something, or if this is just what life is now. This is not a crisis. This is what it feels like to finally meet yourself. And then there's the grief, the strange, confusing grief of missing something you chose to leave. You miss the chaos. Maybe not the people specifically, maybe not even the situation, but the feeling of someone being there. The ambient warmth of another human existing in your space, and you feel guilty for missing it because you wanted this. You planned for this. You chose this. But grief doesn't ask for logic. You can want something and still mourn what it replaced. Both things are true at the same time. Choosing to live alone doesn't mean you don't feel the absence of what was there before, even if what was there before wasn't always good for you. This grief is not a sign that you made the wrong decision. It is a sign that you are human, that connection mattered to you, that you are paying attention. Let yourself feel it without turning it into a conclusion. Here is what nobody tells you about this phase. It is building something in you, not despite the discomfort, because of it. Every time you sit in that silence and don't run from it, you are teaching yourself that you can. Every time you make dinner for one and eat it without distraction, you are learning your own company. Every time you wake up and the quiet greets you and you stay anyway, you are slowly, without realizing it, becoming someone who can be alone without disappearing. This is rare. Most people never learn this. They move from one shared space to another, from one relationship to the next, always with someone else's noise keeping them company. They never have to find out who they are when no one is watching. You are finding out. But here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Think about everything you said you would do when you finally had your own space. The things you kept putting off because of other people, other dynamics, other noise, the book you wanted to read, the corner you wanted to set up, the recipe you wanted to try, the painting, the music, the walk, the thing that was always yours but never had room to breathe. Pick one, the smallest one, and do it today. Not because you feel motivated, because you won't. Motivation doesn't come first. Action does. Get up and begin, even if it feels pointless, even if the silence feels too heavy, even if you have to do it with a weight in your chest. Because somewhere in the middle of doing it, and I want you to remember this, somewhere in the middle, something will shift. The weight will lighten just slightly. The present moment will find you again, and for a few minutes, you won't be living in your head. You will be living in your life. That's where it starts. Not with a perfect morning routine. Not with the motivation that never comes on its own. Just one small thing, done alone, that proves to you that your life inside this space is already happening. And it is already, quietly yours. The silence isn't empty. It just takes time to learn its language.